Okay, so there's no gag for this opening, but I did want to point out that when I was going back into the replays to record this, I noticed that the texture pack that I used for this track somehow messed up, which resulted in some buildings and the braking markers being taken from a 1980s Camel GT pack that I have installed, while everything else used modern textures. I didn't have the Camel GT pack ticked, so either the pack itself is broken, or I may have accidentally created a rip in time space and ended up recording myself in an alternate timeline where tobacco sponsors didn't get banned from American racing events. For the sake of my sanity, I'm gonna go with the former. Anyways, on with the video. Alrighty, welcome back to another week of the Fast Track. As I stated at the end of last week's video, this week's track holds a special place in my heart, as well as the hearts of a lot of racing enthusiasts and even casual gamers. Of course, I'm talking about Laguna Seca. This track's story begins in the 1950s, when the SCCA's California Club was still running races on the streets of nearby Pebble Beach. Despite how twisty, narrow, and downright treacherous the track was, not that many accidents happened there. But when driver Ernie McAfee died wrapping his Ferrari around one of the many trees that lined the circuit in 1956, people started changing their minds about running their races on public roads. And so, about a year later, a bunch of local businesses pooled together to buy a portion of land from the US Army's Fort Ward, chalk up another track made on a former military base, and within that same year of 1957, they hosted their first race. Eventually, they handed the track off to the Monterey County Parks Department, where it continued and still continues to thrive to this day, hosting everything short of NASCAR and F1. And I mean everything. IndyCar, Champ Car, IMSA, Superbikes, Can-Am, Grand Am, Trans Am, Wham Bam, Thank You Ma'am, it hosted a lot of various events over the years, and it grew to be a beloved track by both drivers and fans alike, and that would spill into the world of gaming. Whether you're doing rookie Miata races in iRacing, or you're messing around in Forza or Gran Turismo, there is a scant chance that you've never seen Laguna Seca. However, the track has come under attack as of late by the so-called Highway 68 coalition, who want to tear the track down because they moved in next to an active racetrack, can't stand the noise, and want to inflate the value of their properties even more than they already are now, those greedy motherfuckers! Okay, I think I got it all out of my system now. Let's just get on to the hook. The first turn at Laguna Seca really isn't a turn, but a kink leading into the Andretti hairpin. Brake right before the tarmac starts on the right, and try and keep a tidy line through both apexes, before lining yourself up for turn 3. 3 and 4 will both ask for early apexes and immediate throttle to persuade your car from not going wide. Brake between the 3 and 2 board on the right for turn 5, getting back on the power after going past the yellow sausage curb on the inside. The kink before the Rahal straight is best taken by braking around the 2 board, pointing the nose in, and getting on the power to transfer some weight to the rear wheels so they don't go sliding on exit. As for the world famous corkscrew, brake nice and early before the top of the crest, point the car to the left on entry, and as you go down, shift your weight to the right before easing back on the throttle to get a better line through the following rainy curve, using a tap of the brake and or a big lift to point the car in through there. Use the start of the curbing on the left as your braking reference for turn 10, getting back on the power somewhat early, and lining yourself up for the final hairpin, braking somewhere between the 3 and 2 board. The sausage curbs around here are no joke. All of them, and I mean all of them, are to be avoided at all costs. If that means taking last second avoidance and ruining your lap, so be it. They're just as much of a menace here as they are in iRacing and in other scans of this track. Second, well, I usually don't do this, but because some of the major braking zones are on an incline or decline, changing your brake bias during your lap might actually help out with getting the car stopped without any major lockups. You can also adjust your front bump and rear rebound dampers to change the attitude and balance of your car while braking, but this should only be used as a finer adjustment of your overall setup. And while I am a registered patron of the Latter-day Church of Enzo, I have to admit that this track will probably be the best opportunity for a BMW win. The more equal weight distribution means that the aforementioned heavy braking zones are easier to adjust for compared to the tail-heavy Ferrari, and while I can't 100% confirm it, it felt like the BMW had better acceleration on average. Finally, the race calculations will be shown on screen now. And that does it for this week. Join me next week as we visit my neighbors to the north at Mosport. Till then, good luck, and thanks for watching.